everyone, and welcome to Off the Wall. My name is Sol. I got Josh here with me today, and we're going to be talking about the Netflix movie Lift, starring Kevin Hart, Gugu Mbatha-Raw. Hope I said her name correctly. Sam Worthington, Vincent D'Onofrio, John Renault, a whole host of other people. Directed by F. Gary Gray. But Josh, how you doing? How do you feel about this movie?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back on the channel. It's always a pleasure to talk movies with my peoples. But yeah, as far as this movie, it was fine. For if you want something just to watch, it's a heist film that's very paint by numbers type of
Yes.
movie. To the T, it's a very paint by numbers. But from what Netflix has released, it's a lot better than some of the ones that have gotten better. I think it's better than that Ryan Reynolds Rock movie that were trying to do way too much for what
Mm-hmm.
it is. I thought it was better than The Gray Man, which was just a bunch of action set pieces with no script. At least this one had a script, and you can understand why characters made the decisions that they made. But I thought they cut corners a lot for um, the side characters. I thought you really didn't. They spent too much time on a certain relationship than I think they needed to. That's my biggest thing. But other than that, it was fine. But I mean, I can sit there and talk about the performances, but I don't want to get into spoilers just yet.
Yeah, in my non-spoiler thoughts, I liked the movie and it was a fun time. It was one of those movies where it is paint by number. It is an exact heist movie. You know exactly what's going to happen next. And the twist at the end, you saw it coming a mile away. But you still enjoy yourself because it's just a fun heist movie. You turn your brain off, you have some fun, and it's done well for what it is. And I can enjoy that because, as you said, Netflix sometimes, even for what a movie is, and you lower your expectations on what the movie can be, they still disappoint you one way or another. So I was not disappointed by this film at all. I enjoyed it a lot.
I enjoyed it for what it was. Like I said,
Yeah.
I wasn't. As soon as I saw the preview, and I was like, okay, these are my expectations, and it met them. It did not
Yep.
overexceed them. It did not go below. It met them exactly where it was. I was like,
Yes.
okay, is
100%.
there a way to make it better? For sure. But it's a Netflix movie, and unfortunately, Netflix hasn't released bangers as far as Netflix movies are concerned.
Yeah.
They might have bought movies that they released on Netflix, like the what was the Oscar nominated one with the was in Black and
Both both the Marriage Story and Two Popes.
okay, because I know there's a couple ones where they and what was it? But it was a black and white movie. It was a
Oh,
foreign
Roma.
Roma, yeah, that one. I think Roma was produced by a dip, but then they bought it. I believe. I don't
Mm,
think they actually produced it, which I could be wrong. But this is just off the top of my head. Yeah, the Marriage Story, which some people say was overacted, some people say it was brilliant. So, and I haven't seen the Two Popes, so I really can't say it. But the Netflix movies that I've seen that they really hype up, this one, as far as the other two movies that I said, this one at least knew what it was.
hmm
I wish it could have made different decisions, but it was fine.
Well, that's our non-spoiler thoughts, but let's go into spoilers here. If you haven't seen the movie, dip out, go watch it, come back because it is a fun time. But what are some of your spoiler thoughts of this movie?
Did you know that Vincent D'Onofrio and Sam Worthington were in this movie? Because I didn't.
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay. Because they did. What do they do? What? Especially Vincent D'Onofrio. Like he was in the movie for 2 seconds, and they're like, man, he's great. Why is he great? We still don't know. Like we till this day, I don't know what Vincent D'Onofrio did in the movie. Like he just sat there and acted like some other guy. But what role did he play in the movie at all? I don't
The
know.
best role, literally the best role.
Everyone was excited. Like all the characters were like, "It's Oliver or whatever his name,
Yeah,
Denton," or it's like, "It's him. I love him." And he's like, "Yeah, this is me." I'm like, "But what do you do? What is it you say you do here? Because you don't do
what
anything,
did they
especially
say?
for."
Denton, master of disguise, kind of.
Well, they disguised him having a role. That's what they did. Like it wasn't. It did nothing. It was. I don't. Anyway, on that. Um.
We had a good moment with Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
so, but yeah, it was his role was very limited but every time he was on screen,
Oh
he
yeah.
looked like he was having the most fun.
That was definitely a different role that I've seen Vincent play, and
Yeah,
yeah, you could definitely tell he was having a decent time with it. So I
yeah,
will
yeah.
give you that. I was just looking at it from his character and standpoint. Other than him, just like, and the thing is the crew was already established
Mhm.
when the movie started, so we really didn't know how they came together, really, like
Yeah.
why they are such a tight knit. Like, hey, you all about to die, and they're all like, "I'm in, dog," type of
Mhm.
thing. I'm like,
Yeah,
but why? Like
yeah.
nothing was established. Like, and again, it's a very paint by numbers. It's like, all right, they're established. That's not the point. Is all right. Well, we got they're a really good crew, but the love story felt so forced. It was
Yeah.
like, why are we in love? I don't know. There was a week that we lied to each other for like a week. Well, it's 5 days.
5 days
Like
in Paris. That they
I was,
keep mentioning Paris until we finally get the story of what happened in Paris, and they go in a little bit deeper into their love story, like, later on. But honestly, you could take that love story out of this movie, it's the same fucking movie,
it's the same
and
movie.
it's the same movie, and my enjoyment of this movie was because of the side characters.
Yeah.
Vincent D'Onofrio, anytime he was on screen, the short amount of time that he was on screen, was hilarious. I loved that the song choice that they used. I wrote down the name of the song. I think it's called Edamame. That same song was used in the Netflix show I Hate Christmas, and it was like literally anytime Gianna was about to like get it on with someone or about to like have some fun or about to do something wild and crazy, that song would come on, and that was the way where they were like Cyrus the boss, Camilla the pilot, me son the hacker, Magnus the safecracker, which Magnus is my favorite character. He is a teddy bear and should be protected at all cost. Luke the engineer, and then later on we get Denton, master of disguise, kind of. Literally every person on that team, I loved them. It would have been cool to see how they got together, but they were just so much fun.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was with Magnus. I really, he
Yes.
actually like you really could tell that they actually gave him some because
Mhm.
he's a safecracker. He's the guy that breaks into
Yeah.
stuff. So he's gonna play a key role. Whereas like oh what was her name Yunji Kim's character where she
Misun?
yeah, me son. So she was awesome, but she was the one that like has way more technology than you ever could be invented. The
Yeah.
typical heist thing. It's like that's never been invented before. That doesn't make any sense, but maybe it does. But she's always like, I need one more second. Give me
Yeah.
the typical paint by numbers thing. So obviously she's not gonna be doing a whole lot as far as what Magnus was doing, and on that. But the pilot, the person that could just drive everything, that was
Yeah,
really cool.
Camilla.
I did like how even though he was just is there a tech bro that douchey? Probably. But no one ever explained how he got all of his money, how he's
Yeah.
like there's tech bros and then there's that guy, which I'm like you sounds like he has more money than like he's supposed to be like the Elon Musk, but like just
Mhm.
just the guy that like has way too much money, but he's way too young to have as much money as he did, and it never explained
Yeah,
it, but
Jacob Batalon's character,
yeah.
which it was just such a short moment, although I thought it was cool where because they bought his NFT art, but then at the same time sold a Van Gogh painting and then sold that Van Gogh for 20 million, which they used to pay for the NFT. And I loved the part when they were like, Leonardo da Vinci sold the Mona Lisa for $25,000. And nobody gave a shit about it for 400 years until someone stole it. That smile is now worth $860 million because there's a crazy story behind it, just like the one of us borrowing you. And I love how they use borrowing instead of kidnap. So at the beginning, I'm like, oh, I'm very intrigued
Hmm.
about these art heist like thieves. And then it kind of like goes in a weird way in the movie, but I was kind of just there for the ride because there was an interesting concept behind what they were doing.
Right. And it's the whole. I just like how they kept doing the. Well, you're gonna save lives. That's we get everyone. We get it. Everyone keeps saying that. But I like how they kind of poke because that's the whole
Because
thing
no
is
one gave a shit about saving
right,
lives. It's all about the gold.
right. I will say Kevin Hart's performance because he's typically plays the same character. He
Hmm.
didn't. That being said, his range of emotion was
Yeah.
pretty this. Like it
Yeah.
was like, what do you think about this, Cyrus? Oh, we gonna do that.
Yeah.
This just happened. It's all right. I figure it out. Like it just, but I
Yeah.
mean, but the action scenes were actually well done, which doesn't surprise me. F. Gary Gray is a solid
Yeah.
director on that. So the action scenes were good for what they were. But yeah, the villain was just like he's a bad guy. He makes bad guys look bad. Like that
Yeah.
whole thing on that. So, but the chemistry was there, especially with the montage of them all figuring stuff out and like Abby really getting to understanding like these people she's been hunting them her whole life, which is more of a personal vendetta because of that 5 days in Paris. So it became more of a personal thing. And then Sam Worthington's character, which from a standpoint, they really brought across that he's a dick. And
Yep.
then when he was decided to like shoot down the plane, even though they said there were civilians on board, to him, he was kind of like, if you watch some other places where it's like killing a few people to save 1,000, to have to make that
Hmm.
decision, is he really a dick? Is he not? But because he was presented as such a dick
Yeah.
character, you're like, how dare he kill the people that we've been watching the whole time?
Right.
So
I
I
mean,
get
he's still a dick either ways,
right.
even
He's
if
still a
he's
dick
saving
either
lives.
way, but Spock. It's kind of the Spock theory. As
Yeah.
far as that's what reminded me of that when he made that call. But you're just like, these are the people that you told to do this thing, and it's is it they're not double O agents or anything like that. Like knowing the risk of what they signed up for, even though they did. So I understand, but at least they painted of like him making the decision, and then Abby pulls the big Paul Walker of like, I'm out. I want to
Hmm.
go I want to go join Vin Diesel and all of his crew
Yeah.
of miscreants at the end of the day. And then they did the whole. Um, you can kind of tell they there was something that happened, but
Yeah.
how the only decision of like we
Because
stole the
Luke
gold,
didn't go on the plane.
right? And it's like the whole thing of like, yeah, we planned this whole thing out. So you planned
Yeah.
on getting like almost getting shot 17 million times and all this stuff out. Like that's the whole thing that I get. Like I don't
Yeah.
get is like all this.
Although the plan would have still worked even if they didn't, like, even if the
Yeah,
everything else went to plan, because it's literally just shoving gold out of a plane.
right,
And so no matter what, wherever the fake gold bars ended, they would the pre-plan that they made. But when you had Luke not joining and then Kevin Hart being way too chill about it, I
yeah.
was just like, "Oh,
Oh no,
this is gonna come around."
yeah, it's a heist movie. So what you
Yeah.
think you see, what you think is in front of you isn't actually what it is.
Mhm.
And then what the way they cut of Magnus like breaking in, and the next thing you know, we gotta go check on Magnus, and then
Mhm.
he's like, "Sorry, I didn't do it." I was like, "Nah, something happened there." Like just the way they cut it, you can kind of
Mhm.
because it's paint by numbers, so
Yeah.
something would have happened. It's no Ocean's movie, but to me that's like
Yeah.
that's the pinnacle of heist movies. So but yeah, that was the only thing is like all that stuff happened in between, and you just kind of figure like, why'd you have to have the other plane? Why'd you have all this? And like just a couple other things that didn't make
To
sense.
make it look like they were giving the gold bars, the fake gold bars to the police, to Interpol.
Right. But if that like where were they gonna land that other plane? And they were like, good, we just gave all the gold to the bad guy, and then just happened that the police showed up and like all that other stuff. I mean,
Mhm.
were they planning on having the U.S. military?
You're not supposed to think when you watch these types of movies. It's literally turn brain off. That's
But
what this movie
I
is. I
can't
know.
help it when I'm
I
like
know, I know,
that.
I know.
What? So what was the end game here?
The end game was that they were gonna have the drone flying to Zurich. So with the coordinates, so it looked like the plane was flying to Zurich, but then the actual plane was going to land somewhere else that was then close to a train station, and then what was supposed to be the gold bars, the fake gold bars, go on the train station and not to Zurich.
Right.
So that was like the plan, and before that ever happened, they pushed the real gold bars out the
Right.
plane.
Right. And the other thing too, if Leviathan is so good at hacking and making mudslides and killing 13 people, at
Yeah.
least that we know, why do they need to get paid by someone else to do something? They
Yeah.
could literally hack into anything and get away with it, as
They
we've seen.
even there too were just like, oh, if you don't pay us our gold, we're going to liquidate all of your assets.
Right. So they
Yeah.
don't need anybody.
Nah.
That was the biggest plot hole to me, was that
Yeah,
with
yeah,
Leviathan. I'm like,
100%.
if they could liquidate all of his assets, why do they need his gold? Why do they need that? Like, are they just that
Yeah.
greedy? Like, and of course, you really didn't know anything about. You just knew Leviathan was a thing, and knew the guy was um, John Renault's character. Jorgensen was just, he makes bad guys look bad, and
Yeah.
he's just gonna.
He's great at playing a bad
Oh yeah,
guy.
yeah, yeah. He's solid at that. But that was the one thing I was just like, you literally
Yeah.
can if you can hack.
You don't need Jean Renault.
No, you don't
You
need
don't
Jean
need him.
Renault's character, and you can easily and
Leviathan could have been the bad guy.
yeah, Leviathan was the bad guy at the end of
Yeah.
it. He was the middleman that wanted to do other things by using the bad person. Like, it was,
Right.
yeah, you were
I
the
mean,
third
he
party,
was still a bad guy, but he
right?
was a middleman bad guy.
So,
Now, I want to go into favorite parts, and literally, it's just every time Magnus was on screen
oh, Magnus
for
on the
me.
runway was hilarious.
Magnus on the runway, Magnus playing Chop Suey by System of a Down.
Yeah,
Uh,
to
like
show
I
the
was
vibration stuff.
here to show the vibrations. I was here for it. I know I said Vincent D'Onofrio was having the most fun time of his life, but the person who plays Magnus, I think those two were just like, we know what movie we are in. We
Yeah.
are in a paint by numbers heist movie. We're gonna have a fun fucking time.
Hmm.
And I think that's the reason why, like, they came across so well in this movie is because they knew what movie they were in and they were having fun. Where Gugu, I think she did a good job. But like there was like a little bit of like too much seriousness from her that I'm like, you don't know what movie you're in, honey. It's okay.
It's kind of the same thing with Kevin Hart. I'm like, I
Yeah,
get why you're going for this, because you're just known as the,
the funny guy.
I got a backpack on. You can't go to a bar without a backpack. That whole
Yeah,
thing from Jumanji, and like all that stuff of him just like freaking out, being like the
yeah, yeah,
funny
yeah.
guy next to the straight guy. Like, that's what he plays, and so now he's like the ringleader, and suave and
Serious.
serious, and
Yeah,
I'm but it's just like, we still don't know enough about Cyrus of why he's a thief. At the end of the day, he's an art thief, as they say.
yeah.
Like, oh, they're just petty art thieves, type of thing. But yet he's just like,
We didn't even
yeah,
get a flashback either.
no, just like, let's go save the world. Why? Because we care. Because he goes, well, I only steal from rich people. It's like,
Yeah,
but you don't give back to the poor, Robin Hood.
yeah.
So,
I
so
mean,
like,
if he's counting himself as the poor.
right, right. So, and plus, this movie is always just like, everyone is always just driving like the most pristine cars, living in apartments that make no sense based off of
Mhm.
like their budgetary reasons of like what they own and how they look and like their suits they
It's
have.
like
I'm
the
like,
friend's apartment.
yeah, it's like one of those movies where everyone just looks amazing dressed in like, everyone's
Mhm.
got these like custom things, and everyone just looks pristine, and I'm like, yes and no. Like, I know you just made $89 million, and I don't know how many other heart heists you did
Yeah,
before
yeah.
to get to here. I mean, obviously they're known, so it's kind of established that maybe they've already established their bankroll. But still, it's just the style of the movie. I'm just like,
Yeah.
everything is like top of the line. You're dressed. You have $20,000 on every wardrobe you have. You're in a million, $2.2 million apartment a month, type of
Mhm.
thing, and all this other extremities and stuff like that. So, even the
I
even
mean,
the
the first
vodka was
class on
top shelf.
that first class plane, like,
Yeah,
on that plane, it's nice as fuck. I was
yeah,
just like, "Oh, damn."
yeah.
On
So,
like a double-decker plane.
right.
Yeah.
So, it's just that's another. I mean, but like I said, I can. You're supposed to turn your brain off, but when you want
Yeah.
me to review these things, I'm gonna
Right,
point out
right,
things
right,
that are
right.
just like, okay, I
Yeah.
I can understand that, but in the end of the day, like I said, I had much more fun with this movie. Of course, it's a heist movie. I always like a good heist movie,
Yeah.
compared to a lot of action movies, like like The Gray Man. That one was the script was just terrible. It's like, all right, guys, what action scene you want to go with next? Cool.
Or a movie that I'm going to be reviewing with Cheryl, The Beekeeper, that script was terrible.
Yeah.
The
So
action was good. I mean, it's Jason Statham, so the action is going to be good. But that script was terrible.
yeah,
So, in comparison, like, this was a fun time.
yeah, yeah. And I liked, the way that the henchmen, how they made the gun out of the vape pen and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
that was cool because that's how you can sneak that onto the plane. Even though you figure Jorgensen had enough influence that he could just do whatever to get stuff
Yeah.
on the plane. That's just kind of how it came across. But still, that was a cool little way of doing that. And I just like how every henchman for Jorgensen just does not care about anybody. Like they just all have the same mindset of like was like, is he that scary? Like, I don't, that type of thing. But
Friggin' being eaten by a dog, too.
yeah,
Like, one of them got.
which is a typical paint by numbers to show
Yeah.
how the bad guy's a bad guy. It's just like, all
Yeah.
right, what guy? This is what happens when you cross him. It's just, it's kind of the line
Yeah.
from Ocean's 11. It's like he's gonna kill you and he's gonna go work on you as far as like
Yeah.
the next steps.
One thing in the movie that I was just like, okay, sure, yeah, we needed this because it's part of the paint by numbers. The reasoning for why um, you're joining in on this heist is Abby speaking about her mom and the, let me get the painter correct, the Hockney print, and that being stolen. And that's the reason why she's became an agent. Are they called agents in Interpol? Like that's to go against art thieves is because of that one time a painting got stolen from her mom's school.
Yeah, it wasn't even like their house. It was the
Yeah,
school that her mom taught at or something like that. So
her
it's like,
mom was the headmistress of.
yeah. So it was. I thought that was, yeah, with that, and it's just. So why do you steal stuff? Well, I just like to steal from rich people. It's like,
Yeah.
okay. I mean, but
And we don't even get like a sappy story from him. So it was kind of just like, oh, we're just only getting one sappy story
right.
in this. And it was just like one of those, oh, I found the guy at the end who stole the painting.
Yeah.
That's
By
how
the
he
way, I found
showed
him.
his love. Yeah, by the way, I found him. Like
Yeah.
you with Interpol in your division, the art division where you go after art thieves. You never found him, but I found him.
Right.
Yeah.
I ask around. Okay. Thanks. Yeah. It's just like, so you're telling me my life's work you've done in like 2 days because
Right.
you made a couple phone calls. It's like, but whatever. The underground, I
Yeah.
guess, has a different. You just have to take it because sometimes, like, but there's no honor amongst thieves. Yet he can find out stuff out. Like,
Yeah.
what's going on with that? But no, like you said, I mean, so I you, I Abby was Abby. I actually kind of got a little bit of chemistry. Like, it wasn't
Mhm. You know,
void of
there was
chemistry.
definitely chemistry. It wasn't one of those like no chemistry at all. But I would agree with you. Like both her and Kevin Hart were in a different movie than everyone else.
Yes, yes, they were. So, and then I liked when like they were all sitting on the plane and Vincent D'Onofrio talks to me soon, and he was just like, "You know what we have to do?" And she goes, "Yeah, I still don't know what that is.
Right?
I don't. It wasn't even explained a week later at the end."
How do you feel about Vincent D'Onofrio's accent on that plane?
That's fine. Like, it's Vincent D'Onofrio. It's like what he went to the director. Goes, it's like Samuel L. Jackson when he made the Kingsman. He's was like, I want to have a lisp. And in Matthew, um, I
Bond.
Vaughn. Yeah, Matthew Vaughn was like, okay, fine. Because I swear that wasn't a director's choice. That was literally a
No.
Samuel L. Jackson. Same thing with Vincent D'Onofrio. Is like, I want to go with this. Okay.
Yeah,
You're
he was
Vincent
like, "I'm gonna
D'Onofrio.
use a Southern voice, and I'm gonna have the flight attendant come help me pick out a movie."
Right. So that was fine there. But yeah, I still don't know what that was where you still meet them. It's like, you know what we have to do. Uh-huh. We're still waiting. If someone in the comments section could tell me what that is that they were supposed to do, that they were so serious about, let me know on that. And yeah,
I do
but
want to, yeah. I spoke a little bit about the music in here. You had the uh, original song when they're introducing everyone, and then they had Chop Suey, System of a Down, and then the last song that we hear is the Move On Up by Curtis Mayfield. For a second, I thought it was going to be Kanye's Touch the Sky,
hmm
um, because he samples that song. And I
right.
was just like, okay, I really dug the music in the movie. How'd you feel about the music?
Oh, the music was fine. The chop suey definitely came out of nowhere, but you know, it made sense for the plot reason on why that
Yeah.
was there is for him to show that.
And
Um,
Magnus 100% would listen to
yeah.
System.
Oh, yeah. That totally makes sense there. The music was fine. I mean, it wasn't something that was the only chop suey was the only one, but it made sense of why it
Mm-hmm.
was done. So it wasn't just out of nowhere where there's like a fight scene and they have a weird soundtrack, like a
Yeah.
song playing over it that doesn't fit, and why are we and like the song takes you out of what's going on in front of you,
Mm-hmm.
whereas like again going back to the Kingsman with Freebird, and like that still is known as like one of the coolest scenes ever because of
Yeah.
how the stylized of the fight scene and the solo of Freebird meshed
Mm-hmm.
together. I wasn't expecting that type of scene here. We didn't get that. The fight scenes were fine. Like I said, F. Gary Gray was going to shoot a decent
Mm-hmm.
stylized
Yeah.
thing. Um, the only thing that I would say, as far as I'm glad that they were talking, I'm at least made believable of that the plane can actually do a barrel roll, because most planes like that cannot physically
Mm-hmm.
do a barrel roll. But he was saying like it's illegal over airspace and stuff like that, so you knew this plane at least had capabilities based on what he was saying
Mm-hmm.
on
Yeah.
that. So at least I'll give the movie that for not for doing that. But no, the music was fine. I enjoyed that. Like I said, I enjoyed that. I wish it was a little bit more, but for a Netflix movie, this is kind of
Yeah.
what I expected.
So I'm gonna throw to you then. You kind of summed it up and gave your final thoughts there, but any other final thoughts you have?
I'd like to see. I'm glad that Kevin Hart at least did attempted to do a
Mm-hmm.
serious role. Unfortunately, the rest of the characters played a different character than what he
They
was.
played him.
Yeah, they basically played like Magnus kind of played him in that regard. Vincent D'Onofrio was kind of doing his thing. Um, is it Camilla? I liked
Yeah.
Camilla's character. I thought mentioned I saw her in some other things. Ursula Cabrero. I can't. I think I got that right of the actress's name. But she was solid in it, and all that. And but I would like to see Kevin Hart still try this.
Yeah.
It was a step in the right direction. I think. Yes, his character kind of was a little one note, but you still bought the chemistry.
Yeah.
Uh, so
It
that's
was there.
it was there for the tween. Yeah, I'd like to live a more backstory on that. But yeah, I'm glad Vincent D'Onofrio was in the movie.
Were you surprised that they didn't do a flashback to Paris?
If they did, I swear to you, it would have been straight out of Casablanca. And I've been like, all right, that's no, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. So
or that they didn't end the movie in Paris. I was like, oh, that would have been
yeah.
really paint by numbers. Is
And I liked it too. It's like, welcome part of the team, Abby. What is she gonna do?
Yeah, because she's no longer part of Interpol, so
She's no part of
she's not the
inside person or anything like that, as
yeah,
far as
or the
I can.
person that can provide them with means that Interpol can provide. Because that's pretty much what she was on
Right.
the was like, oh, you're now part of the government, so you have access to governmental things.
Right. Like the only thing she provided in this whole thing that wasn't government based was the air traffic control guy.
Yeah.
That was the only thing that she provided.
And
And
I think that was government based because he was on witness protection.
oh, okay, that was right. That's
Yeah.
good. That's probably why. So like again, now that she lost, unless that one guy that she probably will keep in touch with, after she quit. The other foreign I can't remember the actor's name, but that was next to Sam Worthington, the other Interpol agent. He
Yeah.
probably might be like a guy that she might go to as far as X, Y, and Z if they make another one. But it's like welcome to the crew. Yeah, because Kevin Hart likes you. That's why you're part of the crew. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't it wasn't to be anything else.
You're
Uh,
the only one that it's literally where like everyone in the crew, no one is a couple except for the two of you.
right. And also too, they did this whole thing to get immunity. Then she quit. So how is he going to keep his immunity? Like she was part of the deal. And Sam Worthington is not going to do that because it was fake gold. So he still stole the gold. And
Yeah.
so it's on Sam
Especially
Worthington. So
I think they weren't in it for the immunity. I think it literally was just like, well, especially Magnus. Magnus was in it for the gold.
right.
He didn't even care if
He
they
just wanted to
kept the
look at it.
gold. He wanted to look at it.
Yeah, I love that line. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, he was just like, he's like, we can't keep it. I just want to look at it.
I just want to look at it. But so I think by the time when they plan to just steal the gold, they don't care about their immunity.
No,
They cared about because they're already criminals.
right. So you're gonna get
Yeah.
immunity till the next job. So it's
I
one
mean, they
for
don't have immunity. They're the ones who stole it,
yeah,
the
no, they
gold.
definitely
So
don't have immunity
zero
now. So,
zero immunity for
but
them.
yeah, whatever. But yeah, no, like I said, fun movie. Obviously, I kind of pointed out a lot of plot holes, but
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting to go in and see like Ocean's 11 or something like that. I wasn't.
Yeah.
But yes, and I did tell you this off screen, but this did kind of it took me out of it a little bit because of how they introduced everybody. There's a Rick and Morty episode, like I told you before, that basically makes fun of heist movies. And when you watch that and you watch this, you're like, yeah, I can understand why that could take you out because they already poke fun of exactly how they made this movie.
See, if you never watch Rick and Morty, you're not gonna ruin heist movies for yourselves.
Yeah, it kind of does.
But was this a bad movie? No. Was this a good movie? You can argue and say, no, it wasn't very good either. But was this a fun movie? Hell yes. Would I watch this again? Yes, I would.
Yeah.
I went to my dad because my dad likes these types of movies, and I'm like, Dad, there's this new Netflix movie you should watch because he likes doing that. One of the big reasons we still have Netflix is because my dad uses Netflix. He's a
Yeah.
retired person. So during the day, he's watching movies or TV shows on Netflix or watching sports. So this is 100 like percent if you're a dad out there, you're going to enjoy this
Oh, I'd
movie.
recommend this. Crap, I would recommend this to my dad 100%. This is definitely
Yes.
this is like when you watch Reacher, you're like, Dad, check this out. You need to watch this.
Right.
It's kind of the same thing as like, Dad, you're gonna love this movie. It's gonna be
Right.
fun. You'll like it, and you're gonna think everyone is suave and cool and everything
Yeah.
like that. And
This
that's
is definitely not something that I would recommend to my mother because my mother is one of those any movie she watches, if it doesn't make logical sense, it bothers her, takes her out of it. Like she literally will nitpick a movie to death. So this movie, 100% dad movie, 0% my mom movie.
yeah, yeah. I don't nitpick at all. What are you talking about? But I
You
would.
still enjoyed it. My mom would not have enjoyed
Yeah,
it
yeah,
at all.
I can still enjoy a movie, which I enjoy watching movies, but when you watch them so much that you do,
Mhm. When
unfortunately, the
you
plot
do
holes.
this thing here
Yeah, when
on
you do this
YouTube.
thing, and you're told to review it, then you're kind of looking
Yeah,
for
yeah,
things that you have to be objective about or things that you like. I
yeah.
would say, as far as a grade, I would give it a solid C minus.
I would give it a C plus.
Okay. It's
So
definitely a
well,
C range. I don't think it's
yeah,
a
it's in
I
the
don't think
C
it's a D.
range.
Definitely not a failure of any kind. Failure is I just can't
And
finish the
if I
movie.
would say like script wise, it's in the C range. Acting wise, it's in the C range. Enjoyment, it's about a B.
Hmm.
So like I think this is one of those if you are looking for a movie where you just want to turn your brain off and have a good time, this is it. Um I enjoyed this one way better than Man from Toronto, which Kevin Hart was in that movie as well. And That's also another Netflix movie, and Mike and I reviewed that. If you want to go check it out, last year we both enjoyed that film, but it wasn't a very good film. And I think that's just like the Netflix American films. They're not very good. Sometimes they're just a hell of a lot of fun, and this was
Yeah.
a hell of a lot of fun.
I liked the Man Serrano better than I just did not like the Gray Man at all.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
I wonder, you haven't told us at all anything about it.
So bad. It's like the action version of The Greatest Showman. Like The Greatest Showman has great music and just no plot. It was just like, let's go to this music video, to this music video, to this music video. I know I can get a lot of flack for that, but as far as the songs
I
are
never watched it.
amazing. The songs are amazing. The dance scenes are awesome. Like it's fun in that regard, but as far as a movie, no, it does not work.
Well, that's Josh. I'm Soul. These were our thoughts on Lift here on Netflix, the first movie in 2024 that I watched. Let us know what you think about it down in the comments below. If you liked the movie, if you didn't like the movie, we want to know your thoughts. So put them down below. Remember to like and subscribe, and say down below how much you like this guy and if you want him back reviewing stuff.
All right, guys. Last time I'll be on here. Thank you for having me.
Anywho, we'll see you next time. Bye.